The Rams traded linebacker Kenny Young to the Denver Broncos. Not only did they send Kenny Young to the Denver Broncos, they basically were like, whatever you guys want to give back is fine. It's whatever. Kenny Young was definitely the Rams' best inside linebacker, so I was very surprised to see this news, especially the day after we saw one of the worst performances by one of Kenny Young's teammates that I've seen all season. And that was from linebacker Troy Reeder, who was absolutely getting smoked all day long. Troy Reeder was getting smoked. I'm sitting there like, I don't get too amped up on players and how they're doing bad, how they're doing poorly, anything like that, or how they're doing well. I kind of stay pretty even there, but Troy Reeder was just off. And I don't know if that's a single game anomaly, because I've liked Troy Reeder in the past, but he was not getting it done in this game. So to see that performance out of Troy Reeder, getting ankles busted, missing the onside kick, getting blown up on blocks, stuff like that, it was a surprise to see the Rams take away from that position group and not really get anything in return. So the Rams send Kenny Young and a 7th-round pick to the Denver Broncos in return for a 6th-round pick. That is all the details. That is it right there. So on the surface, I'm not a fan of this trade at all, because at this time, I don't fully understand it. And we are expecting that there's going to be a corresponding move to this and possibly a trade. I do have a lot of fan quesos about trades, so make sure you guys stay tuned into that. That'll be on the back end here of Ram Showcase. But I was very surprised to see that trade, and so it's just such an interesting thing for me to see this trade come in, because at first it was like I heard about it on a Facebook message. That's like the first thing I saw was a Facebook message, and it just said like, really, Kenny Young or something like that. It is like, oh no. And I was so sad about it. And then I looked up the details, and then I was just confused. So we are expecting a corresponding move. Will it be a trade? Probably, if I had to guess. And this also, I think, will tie into the fact that the Rams just freed up some cap space by moving around some money with Rob Havenstein's contract. So the Rams do now have, it's like a little over $4 million, or I want to say it's almost $5 million in cap space. I thought I wrote it down. I guess I did not. I could do research here, but I'm trying to talk to you guys, okay? So it's fine. And ultimately, guys, this one here, I think that this trade, day one, immediate, Kenny Young leaves, I think that makes the Rams a worse team. Immediately. Not by a lot. Like, I don't think that Kenny Young's worth like 2-3 wins or anything like that, but he's definitely worth some big plays. And he had a big 4th down stop against the Detroit Lions. And then the very next day, it's like, we can do without him. Even though Troy Reeder did not play well. What I would have liked to see in this one, to be completely honest with you guys, what I would have loved to see as part of this trade, and there's conversations about the Denver Broncos potentially being willing to move on from cornerback Kyle Fuller. And the Rams could use some help in the secondary right now. On defense, in general, the Rams could use some help. So if we could have packaged in something like, because what the deal was Kenny Young, a 7th, to Denver in return for a 6th. If we could have packaged something together like Kenny Young in a 4 or a 5 for Kyle Fuller, and then maybe a 6 or 7 from them coming back, and so you get players and picks involved in that trade, I at least would have understood it, okay? But we don't know it yet, but you also got to think that let's make a deal Snead has got to be cooking up something, right? The trade deadline comes up on November 2nd, which is Tuesday of next week after this Houston Texans game. It's going to be Tuesday, and that usually falls at about 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. So you can bet your butt cheeks that I'll be keeping a close eye on this. I'm honestly hoping that a move comes before this game happens, but it could leak into the Monday, Tuesday timeframe next week. But it does feel imminent that a move is coming. McVay did admit that this move was financially driven. He said that in the McVay show. So he did admit that it was a financially driven move. And then you tie that in with the Rob Havenstein restructure, and it just makes perfect sense that something's coming. The Rams are eyeballing somebody right now, but where would that position group be? Because that is what confuses me right now. Could it be running back? Very possible. We got some news on that here that we'll talk about in a second as well. But could it be running back? Maybe. That would kind of make sense. The Rams run game is not necessarily getting going, but also we got to give it tries. You know what I mean? We got to give the attempts to get it going, because when we're running the ball 14, 15 times a game, it's hard to get any kind of rhythm going, especially when you're doing 2 backs. And then on the defensive side, I don't think any other position except for linebacker would be one that we would need to go for. And we just traded, in my opinion, our best inside linebacker. We just traded him away for basically nothing. We basically called up the Denver Broncos like, yo, y'all want Kenny Young? They were like, yeah, what do you want for him? Yeah, whatever. Like, whatever you guys want to give up. Like, we'll give you Young and a 7. You guys figure out the rest. A 6? Fine. That's fine. So I don't get it. I personally do not get it. But I do imagine that there is a corresponding move coming. And then I'm sure next week I'll be like, I get it now. I get it. That's what let's make a deal Sneed was doing. Like, because that's going to be my voice next week. I'm going to chain smoke cigarettes, I guess. I'm not a smoker, but I'm going to chain smoke cigarettes. And that's going to be my voice next week. Sean McVay. What are you still doing here? It's over. The clip is over, man. Well, if you're here, might as well subscribe. That's going to be on this side here. And because you made it all the way to this point of the video, I'm sure you're going to like the whole thing. That's going to be on this side. Peace! Go Rams!